That is it. One goal enough for Jim Goodwin's Dundee United, and that could be such a precious 3 points for the visitors, who have been on this dire run of form. They've had 2 weeks to suffer after the Derby defeat, but they bounce back with a vital 3 points in Dingwall, and that will mean so much to Jim Goodwin. Ross Graham's 5th goal of the season, the vital one, for the final score of Ross County 0, Dundee United 1. Well, Michael, it wasn't a thing of beauty, but that will not matter one bit to Jim Goodwin, to Ross Graham, to the Dundee United players and their supporters that will be enjoying their Sunday afternoon in Dingwall.
Yeah, the result changes everything, doesn't it? Look at them now, they're celebrating, they're happy, they're going back down the road, 3 points in the bag. The result dictates everything, and if they're like that, you come away and you lose a game, it's been scrappy, the performance has not been particularly great, and all of a sudden everything's rubbish. Now the flip side is, look at the joy, the excitement. You saw the bench in front of us, they were realising just how important those 3 points were for Dundee United. They're right back in the hunt for third.
Well, right back in the hunt for third, and that pretty much as good as secures top 6 football. So mission accomplished for Jim Goodwin on Dundee United's return to the top flight.
A good afternoon's work. They'll be absolutely delighted. Back down the road to Dundee, top 6 secure, chasing down third.
Well, Michael, the opportunity to name your player of the match for this afternoon's game.
Well, there's only one real moment that's changed this game, and that's the goal ending up in the back of the net. Ross Graham, he missed up a good opportunity moments before. He made no mistake the second time around. Ross Graham, man of the match, he's the one that came up with the match-winning moment.
So that takes United to within 2 points of Aberdeen, 3 of Hibs, who are sitting in third, 5 clear of Hearts, 6 clear of Motherwell and St Mirren. There will be top 6 football for Jim Goodwin's side. And Ross Graham, who's come through their academy, scoring the vital goal that delivers the points, and that will, you would think, end Ross County's chances of making it into the top 6, so they will focus their attentions on steering clear of the dreaded relegation places, be it playoff or direct relegation. But Dundee United victors. Ross Graham, the hero that has sparked the celebrations in the away end in the Highlands. Final score, Ross County 0, Dundee United 1.
Thanks very much for that, Rory. You can see what this 3 points means to these Dundee United players. Alan Hutton, by the way, Marvin Bartley still alongside me. It was one that was hard fought, as Rory and Michael were saying during commentary. It wasn't a classic, but it could be so crucial to exactly what they were aiming to try and do for this season.
Yeah, I mean, it was a bit scrappy at times, but I feel Dundee United came out on top. They deserved it. And you can see by the reaction what it means to everybody, the fans, the players. They were up for it. They knew what was it up for grabs this afternoon, and they've been able to take it. So they're in a real strong place at this moment in time.
I'll tell you what, we can get some more reaction because the goal scorer, Ross Graham, is with Amy Irons.
Yeah, thanks very much, Connie. I'm here with player of the match, Ross Graham. How are you feeling after that one, Ross?
Yeah, absolutely buzzing. It wasn't a pretty game to watch probably, but no, we managed to keep it tight at the back and managed to nick a goal at the other end, so it's happy days.
Yeah, it was a pretty tightly contested affair, neither side having many clear-cut chances, especially in that first half. Was it just a case of trying to keep the heads and being able to find that breakthrough eventually?
Yeah, look, we knew what the game was going to entail and what it was going to look like, and it was exactly that. We knew if we kept the clean sheet, then we were going to score sometime in the game. We always feel that we will, because we've got a really good squad with good attacking options up there. But no, thankfully I could pop up with a winner, so I'm happy.
Yes, you did. You managed to get the header in the end, and you had a chance just 5 minutes or so before that. Were you pleased to see it hitting the back of the net?
I was, yeah. It was a bit of a relief. I used to say 2 minutes before, I felt like I should have scored. So yeah, I told Ryan Strange just to put it in the exact same area, and he did, so credit to him, and I was just there on the end of it.
In terms of what this does, obviously for the club at this point in the season, 6 points clear of St Mirren at the moment, all but secured that top 6 spot. What are the hopes going forward?
Yeah, look, first and foremost is to cement ourselves in the top 6, and then probably see where we can take it from there.
Well, Ross, you are the player of the match today. Congratulations. Enjoy it. Thanks very much. Well done.
Congratulations to Ross Graham and to Dundee United. Just that single goal in it this afternoon here in Dingwall. And that's what it does to the table. Dundee United, as Amy was saying there, just a couple of points now behind Aberdeen, but crucially it's just creating that gap between themselves and St Mirren. 2 more games to go until the split. Hearts, of course, next weekend. You can watch that live on Premier Sports, and then a home match to go against Ross County. Right. Welcome back to Dingwall. Plenty more Scottish football action to bring you here on Premier Sports, including Hearts against Dundee United next Sunday from 2 o'clock. It could be a crucial match because we think about a point we do it for United to seal that top 6 place. That's going to be in Premier Sports 2. And then the weekend after that is Hibernian against Dundee, 13th of April from 2:30. And then all our focus turns to the Scottish Cup. It's semi-final weekend. Hearts against Aberdeen on the 19th of April. It's a 12:30 kick-off, that one. And then on the Sunday, 3 o'clock kick-off for St Johnstone against the holders, Celtic. Very much looking forward to Scottish Cup weekend. Before that, though, we've just watched 90-plus minutes of maybe not the best quality of football, but certainly a really important victory for Dundee United, Marvin. I'm imagining we'll get the thoughts of Jim Goodwin shortly, but he's going to be pretty delighted that finally, after that result against Dundee, he's kind of got what he wanted from his players today.
Yeah, listen, Jim will be absolutely delighted with it. You know, getting those 3 points, he said they're absolutely vital. That's them in the top 6 now. This is a massive goal swing. But I think you saw the relief at the end from the players, you know, going across to the supporters, how they were celebrating. They've been under a lot of pressure recently. As I said, you know, it's taken them this long to secure that top 6 place when, you know, over the last 8 games they've only won 2 of them. They haven't been good enough, they know that. But to win today, as I said, a massive relief for them, massive relief for the supporters, also coming back off the back of that Dundee game where they were obviously well beaten.
They have to be careful, though, because as Marvin's saying, all but a massive swing. St Mirren obviously have to win their last 2. Is it 7 goal swing, I think yeah. It needs to be as well. But there's still a chance, and when there's still a chance, Jim Goodwin will be in there saying, listen, don't rest on your laurels just yet.
Yeah, of course. He'll know there's big games coming up. That's him with 2 left before the split. Huge game next Sunday at Tynecastle, and all focus will go to that. Now, they're in a real healthy position at this moment in time, but you can't take your eye off the ball, because when you do that, that's when mistakes happen.
Indeed they do. Ross Graham was just talking about the opportunity that he had just before this goal. It was I tell you what, it's a right place at the right time, but he still needs to execute it. That header he's just right place, right time.
Yeah, I mean, he's just got the strength. Tompkinson, he's a little bit weak for me there. I think his position isn't right. He's actually going in towards the goal, and Graham's just using his body to manoeuvre him to where he wants to be. He needs to be face on him and really kind of plant his feet and try and put him off, but take nothing away from that finish. And we've seen it just before. It was like a carbon copy. He nearly scored just before it, but that's a great finish. Yeah,
the one before should have been a warning for Tompkinson. You know, like Alan's saying there, he was never in a position to defend. Never was he in control of what was going on there. And when you've got someone like Graham who you're giving away a couple of inches to, you need to be able to try and put him off. But he's not able to even lean on him. He's not able to jump early and make it difficult for him. You know, Graham determines where they go, and the ball ends up in the back of the net.
That would have been something Don Cowie, I'm guessing, would have been quite keen to reiterate to his players. The strength, the stature of Ross Graham. He's one of the tallest players on the pitch. That's what he's there to do.
Yeah, exactly. Outside of Dalby, I think he would have been the biggest danger for set play. So it's definitely someone they would have looked at during the week. You know, how do we stop him? How do we defend against him? And as we said there, you know, he had to warn him just before that, and he's not learnt from that. And then unfortunately there, from his point of view, Graham's put the ball in the back of the net with a second one. But you don't get 2 opportunities. You can't give Graham rather 2 opportunities like that and expect him to miss both of them.
Yeah, it is tricky because in moments like that, as you say, the warning should have been literally minutes before. Well, in actual fact, we've got the Dundee United manager, Jim Goodwin. Here he is.
Hi Jim, well done.
Well done.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much, thank you.
We were just talking there about the opportunities that Ross Graham brings you. He had the opportunity just a couple of minutes before. Second one, he managed to take it. You must have been delighted with the fact that today you're talking about the players doing exactly what you wanted them to do, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean, look, we didn't do ourselves justice the last time you guys were watching us a couple of weeks ago. We made some real basic errors which led to us being punished on a few occasions by Dundee. The last couple of weeks we've spoken about getting back to basics. We knew the clean sheet was going to be important. We always believe that we'll get chances, with the quality that we've got in the group and big Sam Dalby up top. But today the goal comes from a set play, a really well worked corner. Into that back area. We had one about 5 minutes before.
Yeah.
And I would have been having words with Ross Graham had
I think he knew that.
Had the scoreline stayed at 0-0, but we worked it again not long after. Fantastic delivery from Strain and a really good header, and I thought we were good value for it. It wasn't a brilliant game. We know that the difficult pitch makes life hard for both teams in terms of getting the ball down, but I said to the players before the game, if it's an ugly 1-0 win, 3 points on the board, I think we'll all take it.
That's what I was going to say to you, Jim. It's not necessarily about the performances at this moment in time. It's all about winning 3 points, getting as high up as possible.
Yeah, absolutely, Alan. And I mean, I think a little bit of tension and nerves have kind of creeped in over the last maybe 5 or 6 weeks for the group. Relatively young group as well. Guys that haven't been in this position before too often, and little decisions sometimes going against you, and all of that thing can play on the mind. But today it was just about trying to keep everybody nice and calm. We know the threat that Ross County bring. They're a good side. Their home record is excellent. We knew it was going to be a difficult game up here, but we always believed if we kept a clean sheet we'd get a chance, and thankfully that's the way it played out for us.
You spoke about it being a young group, and like you said, over the last 6 or 7 weeks, the pressure's maybe got to them, with everyone speaking about the top six, etc. From a manager's point of view, how have you managed to keep them focused and obviously getting them over the line today? How much of a relief is it from the players' point of view as well, being in there after?
Well, look, I mean, we've been in this position numerous times in the last couple of months where it's been in our hands given the results the previous day, and we haven't been able to capitalise on it. Today I'm glad that we have, with the results the way they went yesterday. But expectations grow, Marvin, as the season goes on. We were probably in a bit of a, I wouldn't say false position, but we were definitely way ahead of expectations in terms of a newly promoted team. We've not been out of the top six all season. At the beginning of the season, everybody's talking about survival, avoid the playoff. Because you're in the top six, then the expectations of the fans and the board all of a sudden become, well, can we get that top six? And I know now, once we secure that, they'll all start talking about Europe and getting passports out. So,
That's just you.
I know, absolutely. But look, I'm really, pleased for the players, because we have come in for a bit of criticism of late, and it's deserved when you don't pick up results. You put yourself in the firing line. But they're a great group. Attitude daily. At weekends, there's never a performance or a game that we lose because of lack of effort. Sometimes a lack of quality, which you can sometimes accept. But today it was all about the resilience and determination and just getting all 3 points. And I'm delighted to be standing here, having achieved that.
You know these players better than most people. A lot of them have been with you since the Championship coming through. Are you even surprised with how successful they've been? And I know we're not numerically there in terms of top six, but getting to this stage, are you even thinking, it's a surprise to you that you've got this far so quickly?
Well, at the beginning of the season, obviously, I'm trying to play things down a little bit publicly, but behind closed doors, we had our own ambitions. We set a target for ourselves at the beginning of the season of 45 points. We believed that would be enough to get top six, and it looks like that is probably going to be the number. We're not mathematically there yet. Things need to happen over the next couple of weeks for things to change with regards to how the league table looks. But I did believe with the group and the recruitment that we've done in the summer, I believe there was enough there to go and maybe nick that sixth spot. Celtic, Rangers tend to be the top two. Hibs, Aberdeen and Hearts, the bigger budgets and the finances, and I believe that sixth place was up for grabs with probably 3 or 4 teams fighting for it. The start was so good that then I think that brings a little bit of confidence and belief to the group, and look, we've not achieved it yet. Stranger things have happened in this game, and I'm certainly not going to stand here and we're not going to be celebrating going down the road. We know what we have to do in the next 2 games, but we put ourselves in a great position.
So we'll see you next weekend to talk about Europe, yeah?
I
hope so.
No doubt. Okay, Jim, thank you very much. Congratulations
Thanks,
today. Well
Thanks
done.
very much. Okay.
The Dundee United, cheers for that, Jim. The Dundee United manager, Jim Goodwin there, as always, very honest. We heard Ross Graham talking about after missing that first opportunity, it was more relief than anything else that he managed to score the second. But because I tell you what, it was almost a carbon copy the first time.
Yeah, it was. Listen, as I said, it's one of those that from a player when you're marking him, it should be a warning. And listen, Graham's not going to miss 2 opportunities like this. But again, the movement from him is very, very good. He's almost like an attacking player. He must be watching Dalby in training because he goes in short first and foremost, and then he pulls himself to the back and does everything correct. He tries to head the ball down. Listen, he just gets it wide of the target. But as I said, from an attacking point of view, does everything correct there. Just, unfortunately, from his point of view, he misses the target.
Yeah, I think that's where Don Cowie, I know he's just walked by us, he didn't look too happy, but he'll look at these situations and be like, this is where we need to do better, we need to be stronger, because they did have a threat when they were putting balls into the box, long throw-ins and corners and different things, so to lose a goal from a set play, they'll not be happy, especially when you've had that warning just before.
He did say that though. Again, this squad, the Ross County squad, is a young one as well. It takes a while to get exactly what he's after from them, and he's been very honest about that too. Does it feel as if after that performance today, just on balance, it was probably the right result?
Yeah, listen, I think if it had been, a draw, I don't think either manager would have really gone away from here and been complaining too much. But if you can edge it, they're the best ones to win. Jim will tell you that they're the best ones to win, but the worst ones to lose, because you sit in there and you think, did we really deserve to lose that game? Could we have done better potentially on a set play? 100%. But in game, I don't think there was too much between the two teams.
And probably actually there's loads of times this season that Jim Goodwin's been saying that.
Yeah, exactly that, and that's the thing, probably over the last 6 or 7 games, saying
exactly.
it more often than not. But yeah, listen, as I said, he'll be absolutely delighted, because have they been at their best today from Dundee United's point of view? No, but they've got the 3 points, that's the most important thing. But listen, Don Cowie will be, speaking to his players as he always does, and they'll be learning from today.
I just feel that Ross County were trying not to lose it at times in the game, and that's the thing, and then they go 1-0 down, and then they try and get back into the game. This for Mo, what a strike.
You're thinking that's in the back of the net, aren't you?
Everybody was thinking that's in the back of the net, but I think it's Campbell on the line to get it off. It was a great block, defensive block. He understands just to get back and try and make that block, but the technique, not that one, the one after, the technique here is incredible, and you're expecting that to go in.
Yeah, well, listen, the first technique, Rory Payton used to have him at Queen of the South, so there's no surprise he had a swing and miss at it. But,
so
Yeah, but yeah, listen, Mort does everything right, as you said there. His technique's absolutely fantastic, and Campbell's just so alert as a defender, thinking, right, the ball's gone over my shoulder, what can I do possibly to affect the next part, and it's getting on the line. Listen, that's an absolutely brilliant block from him.
It's kind of one of those ones that I'd like to give Eli Campbell the credit for it, but you don't really necessarily know much about it. You're just sort of reacting.
You're just on the line, aren't you?
No, but that's what you do as a defender.
Yeah.
Like you need to kind of smell that danger, and you see it just there in the last clip where he just thinks, I'm going to get in behind the keeper on the line just in case anything happens. Right place, right time.
It's muscle memory, part of that.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, okay, we've spoken about Dundee United, so we'll get the reaction from the Ross County camp. We'll speak to Don Cowie and find out how he's feeling after this one, after this short break. Welcome back to Dingwall. Ross County going down by 1-0 against Dundee United. They get all 3 points. Let's get some reaction from County boss Don Cowie, who's with Amy Irons.
Don, unlucky today. How do you feel after that result and performance?
Well, disappointed. I think, I don't think we performed well enough. So that's the real frustration. I said at half-time it was about who was relentless in their decision-making, and it could be a set play that can be the difference. And, fair, credit to Dundee. They kept going and probably deserved the win.
Yeah, because it was so tight for certainly much of the first chance. Alex Samuel with a brilliant chance as well. Were you frustrated that you just couldn't make more? And it seems to be the kind of story of the season, just not being able to create the chances up the top.
Yeah, because I believe we've got the players that are capable of doing it. And yeah, that's the frustration. We didn't put Dundee United under enough pressure. We knew what was at stake today. It was a big game for them as well. And that's the real disappointment, because at home we've been good, we've been consistent, and we've put teams in the back foot. And we didn't do that enough today. And Dundee United did it really well. They put us on the back foot, and they wore us down and probably got the deserved winner.
It shows just how tight the league is, because before the game we were talking about the fact that there was still hopes of top 6. That looks almost, it looks certainly out of sight now. And then you're looking the other way. You're still 4 points clear of Dundee in 11th. Do you think you'll have enough, given that you have the last couple of seasons, to be able to stay up?
Well, that's why we've never got carried away. Even when I've been asked that question, the message has been clear. We just focus on the next game. And today was an opportunity to get 3 points. We know where we are in the league. You know, we sit ninth. We want to improve on what we've done the last 2 seasons. I've got so much belief in this group that we can get the job done.
Next up, Aberdeen and then St Mirren. This are the 2 games before the split. Both tough opposition. What will be the thoughts going into those?
Well, every game's tough. Every game's competitive in this league. So, you know, we'll look at today. We'll analyse, you know, what we could have done a lot better. And then it's about getting prepared for Aberdeen, who had a fantastic result at the weekend. But I'm sure they'll take a big support for that. And we'll be ready for it.
Don, thanks very much. Unlucky today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Don Cowie speaking to Amy Orange. There's some tough questions there for Amy, but this is, I tell you what, this is what happens whenever you're looking at the bottom half of the table. The narrative begins to change a little bit.
Yeah, and listen, as a manager, you have to make sure that doesn't seep into the players, you know, because he spoke about finishing 11th for the last 2 seasons. You know, they're in 9th place at this moment in time, and it's about the next game for them, as he said. You know, can we make sure we stay away from that kind of playoff relegation space and keep pushing forward? You know, can we finish best of the rest? If they're not going to make the top 6 now, can we finish in 7th place? That's the important thing. And listen, his players have gone out against the Dundee United team now that will be in the top 6, and they've ran them very, very close outside of a set play. So there's positives for him to take as well. But listen, he always wants better for his players, and like he said, in game, they need to be a little bit better.
Just shows you how tight it is. We spoke about that before.
It's
This
very
one.
tight. But I like how Don Cowie's he's open, he's honest, he says it how it is, and I agree with him, everything that he said there. But it's on to the next one. Focus on the next one. They've got a good record at home. They've got Aberdeen here, and it's a huge game. If they can get the points, then happy days.
How easy is it, or how challenging for a player at this stage of the season when you know you've got sort of the end in sight, you know what you need to do, but again it comes down to the psychology of winning, and I think that's what Don Cowie was alluding to at half time. This is the time, you know, you need to be stand up and be counted.
Yeah, he said they have to be relentless in their decision making, you know, and it might come down to a set play. So he saw what was coming. You know, Don's was an experienced player, and now he's a manager, so he let his players know that. But sometimes you just can't stop things. Sometimes things just happen. But in terms of his players and their thought process, you know, it's about winning the next game. It's about going and getting 3 points in the next game and the next game, and just tick them off, you know, and then come into the season. As I said, they want to be going on holidays with as much bonus as possible. That's what I'll be thinking about.
Trust you. Trust you. They did have chances because Alex Samuel was there as well. So they've got the ability, they've got the creativity within the squad.
I think they do. I think they've got players. You see the subs that Don made coming on, making an impact. So he's got the squad there, and he's going to have to use it. And it's the goal scoring. Look, they've only scored 31. That needs to be upped, and they need to try and do it in the next game.
Okay, we've got next weekend to look forward to. Hearts against Dundee United. Can they do it?
Oh, it's going to be a cracker. I'm looking forward to it, actually. I think we'll wait and see. It's going to be a difficult one, but looking forward to it.
Indeed. All right. Thank you very much for your company, both of you today, Marvin, Bartley and Alan Hutton. And thank you very much to you at home for watching. We'll see you next weekend. Hearts against Dundee United on Premier Sports. Have a good day. Bye-bye.